Super cool. Alright. Well,
Hi, my name is Wilson Wishna.
Hi, I'm Geneva Vasquez.
I'm Ethan Vaughn.
and I'm Mrs. Vieto.
Alright, guys.
First question.
Yeah, so our first question is, what is Thoreau's argument for his claim that voting is not a way to enact change? What are the limitations of voting, and what are the benefits of voting when seeking change?
So,
Okay, so
So-
sorry. Start, please.
okay. So I'm just so with the first one where it says, for his claim that voting is not a way to enact change. I mean, he would throw a good amount of the thing where he's not necessarily against it. It's just he just says that doesn't really enact
It's
change.
just like stating your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good start, but you're not really gonna get anywhere from there. You have to actually physically go out there and create change and like put your word out. Like actually, like you were saying, like I don't want, like this is like you're against abortion. If you just say that I'm against abortion, that's cool. You're against abortion. Well, what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna go out? Are you gonna stand in front, put up a sign, try to change people's minds? That's what he wants you to go more into. So, I mean, he's pretty.
It is not enough just to perceive what is right, which is what you're doing by voting. You're just saying what's right.
Yeah. Voting is not an action because we're not.
I've had
The
it for a
action,
long
yeah.
time.
That's what he cares more about, the action
Yeah.
over just the words.
Yeah, because when we're voting, we're just
Focus.
stating our opinion of what we think is right, but that doesn't mean that that's going to go into like effect. So.
It could, but he's saying for the majority,
Mhm.
it's good.
Because even if it does, we didn't necessarily do anything to like, say for like presidents, whoever gets elected, and technically when we vote, we're not, in Thoreau's argument, we're not doing anything because in the end, it's the senators who choose who the like
Yeah.
president is.
So I think that could lead into like what the benefits of voting are, because for example, like you said, the Senate,
Mhm.
if we vote in like the senators that we believe will do the right things and they actually end up doing like what we believe is correct, then that does those are some of the benefits, right?
And that goes into that second part where it says, what are the limitations of voting?
Well, we've
So-
already talked about that. That would be the third part.
Benefits.
Benefits.
Oh, okay, yeah. Good, okay.
I don't know. It's not very beneficial
Yeah.
from what I see.
There's a lot of limitations to
Yeah.
voting.
In his eyes.
Yeah,
And to government in general.
I feel like I believe the same thing too though. Like,
Oh.
there's not much that voting is really gonna create a big change
Yeah, especially because
at this
like
point
how
in time.
like long term like real change happens when you're just voting.
And even then, like, when it comes to like president, whatever president, like, you could vote for the president that you want. You want him to do certain stuff and whatever he's claiming he's gonna do or she's gonna do.
They don't do it.
And some of them work really hard to try to get something done, but like you guys, like what is it, the houses are the ones that at the end of the day, they can be like, nah, just veto whatever you're saying, like, nah, we don't like what you want, so like, no, like, he doesn't have the full power to change everything, yeah, so like,
Yeah,
go
and a
through the
lot
checks and balances and everything, and then,
of policies that the president would want to happen, like even if those things you usually like see them like after their presidency is already over.
because that's how long it's taking him.
Yeah, and then the next president can just like
Cancel it.
yeah, basically.
It's a lot easier to cancel than to get something passed.
Going back to the first question real quick, something that I wrote down that I think correlates to it is that she was talking about how an individual's conscience is not inferior to the will of the political body because suppressing your conscience doesn't better the law. And I just think that was like one of his main arguments for not, like voting not being a way to enact change.
You know, maybe this whole government thing is bad and we shouldn't follow the laws. And I think that segues into our second question. Thoreau argues we have no obligation to respect unjust laws. How does he support this?
That was a paraphrase. Oh, because the question's different, that's what I was just saying.
I read it.
Oh, I
No.
was just letting you know that that was the paraphrase from this.
Oh,
Yeah.
so what's the actual question?
The question 2 says, while some people,
Oh.
while people sometimes argue that we don't like it, we must follow the law, and Thoreau disagrees, arguing that we have no obligation to respect unjust laws. How does he support this claim?
Pretty much something.
Yeah, I feel like, sorry, I think I jumped ahead a little bit, and I feel like the answer to that would be the individual's conscience. Like, suppressing your conscience doesn't better the law, and it doesn't, like, suppressing our conscience to enact an unjust law doesn't,
And I think,
Like ignorance, in a sense.
kinda?
I think the way that he talks about that is that, like, remember when he was talking about, like, the best place for a just man is in an unjust world is in prison, or whatever the actual quote was.
What a Chad, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, I think,
Oh, I found it. Under a government which imprisons any unjustly, the true place for a just man is also in prison.
In
And then
prison.
he also has the part where he's talking about taxes and that he doesn't pay his taxes because he doesn't like where that money is going to. Well, yeah, not the highway tax, but like
Yeah.
his normal taxes. And his poll tax, yeah. And then what else? Okay, maybe talk about this. But yeah.
Yeah, I think just to add the suppressing your conscience, something that I have written down is that it's impossible to live an honest life and a comfortable one. A just life is a good life. So like the first one being like living an honest life isn't always going to be comfortable because we have to be civilly disobedient to the law because it's not just, and therefore makes our lives uncomfortable in that sense.
Oh, I think yeah.
And
So-
he in himself is actually he's enacting what he preaches in the beginning where it says like not just like speaking or like devoting whole sense, like that's what he's I guess in a sense it's just an example of what he says that where you can fight back, I guess you could say, for justice. 'Cause, and that's when you mentioned it's not always gonna be easy, and that it does suck sometimes that I don't know, I feel like it really does suck when they have a law and literally no one likes it, it sucks, and then you're just like kind of stuck at a railroad because you're just like, I don't want to follow that, but like in my case, like if I don't follow something, then like if I don't follow something, like I'm gonna go to jail. If I go to jail, who's gonna bring me money for my family? So it's just like at that point, it's like really hard to be like, okay, yeah, I don't want to do that. I have to follow it. Like, and like, he doesn't bring it up, but I mean,
I thought he did.
no, he doesn't bring up what I'm about to say about like the DMV, like fines and everything that they charge. A lot of those, like, we don't need to follow them, but we do follow them because the cops are gonna get you. They're gonna give you a ticket. If you don't listen after a couple tickets, you're gonna get towed. Your car's gonna get towed, impounded, and it's just like, why? Like, it's not supposed to be like, we don't need to follow that, but we do because then they're enforcing it. So that kind of sucks, though. I don't know. It is hard to just. It's easier to be just behind a desk, just typing and trying to like say something, but it's harder to actually act on it because of your family or like I'm pretty sure like if you go, it's gonna be a stress to your parents. It's gonna be like it's just gonna create this whole other problem that you don't want to happen. So it's harder to push for certain stuff than others, I guess you could say.
There's also the, like, another thing that he says that you can do is, like, publicly, like, calling out your government officials and making, or, like, telling them that they should, like, retire.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like
I don't know what that word
suggesting.
is.
That is the word.
No, I know that is a
Suggesting
word, but I don't know.
to,
No,
what
like-
that's the word he used too.
that is. Okay. Anyways, I don't know where that part is.
But then you can't even do that nowadays. They put you in jail for that too.
No, they can't.
There's a lot of, I don't know if you've seen
They
the news.
can't
I
put
was-
you in jail for telling other people that they should quit their job.
That, well, they don't only say that, but I mean, like, we do have freedom of speech and
Yeah.
people, like, people that are like up in higher positions, they think they like own everything, they can rule everything. And like, you can't really like fight, it's hard to fight for your own shit that like, you say like, even if you're just talking, like you said, like, I don't know if you've seen the news, there was these guys that went up and, there were like it was like a governor or something like that, and then they were like, yeah, you're trash, like you don't do anything, and like you're not doing this, you're not doing that, and it's like, yeah, and they were trying to stop him, but he has like minutes, like 2-3 minutes to talk, but they were like trying to stop him,
Like
and
one
they're
of
like,
those like Q&A things.
yeah, something like that, and then they were trying to stop him, and they're like, well, like, and they're like, no, like, stop, if you don't stop, we're kicking you out, and then they literally got the sheriffs to like,
Well, I think
to
there's
handcuff him, and they took him to jail, and it's just like, freedom of speech, where does that fucking fall? You
I
know?
think maybe
It's even
what
hard to
could
do
have
that.
happened was that he was being disrupted.
Which can count as,
But you have
which
freedom
is
of speech.
technically a law.
No.
Yeah,
But you have freedom of speech, and
but-
you can say whatever you want.
but speech is different from like being disruptive and being like a menace to society.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think it's called public. What's it called?
Yeah, but
Public
you're allotted time, like I said, like 3 or 4 minutes where you can like go up there and talk and say stuff,
Yeah.
and then he's
But, like-
talking, but because he's trashing the governors, like, look, you're not doing this, you say you were gonna do this, you're not doing that.
Was he like yelling and stuff, or like was he?
Oh,
just-
He was a little vulgar, but that
Okay,
doesn't,
but
that doesn't mean anything, it's just,
I
because
feel
he
like
has
no,
his
but
right,
that's where it came from because he was being vulgar about it and not.
but he has the right to
He
talk,
has the right to be.
he has the right to talk,
But I
and
see
then
the
they're
thing is-
stopping it because,
It's because it's their event. That's why.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it could have also just been a private event. Because if it's not the right to free speech in public. But it's just like how in Instagram and Facebook.
You have the right to
You
free speech,
can-
but you don't have the right to like force people to listen to you. So
Yeah.
they can take you off that platform, but you can still say whatever you want, just not on the stage.
but if
Yeah,
you're
so
allowed
you know,
to,
like
if you're allowed
online,
to
how you can
time,
get banned.
you're allowed to time.
Yeah, but that's not like a law, or that's like the event they set up. They can decide whatever they want for the event, right?
I don't know, I feel like it's stupid, like,
Mm.
they, well, cause I'm saying, like, they allow you time to talk and, like,
Yeah,
like,
it's
fight
unfair.
for your thing,
It's
and
not,
then,
it's unfair,
and then
but
when
it's
you're
not
there,
like against the law.
and then, but, cause a lot of them, but by the time they go up there, like, they're passionate about it, like, cause
Yeah.
they're like fed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most of them do cuss and everything, and it's just like, but like, they're allowed to do that. But then, because they don't, like, certain officials, the higher ups, they just wanna like, I don't know, I just feel like it's all fucking corrupt, so,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
I think
still
Thoreau agrees
there's-
with you.
yeah. And I feel like that's what, they don't care if they're gonna be sent to jail, they're just gonna keep on doing their own shit. I feel like we need a lot more people willing to sacrifice and go through pain to like actually get shit done. But it's harder said than done.
Yeah, I do still think that it's possible to still like call out those public officials.
And also, do you?
I could have searched it up, but I mean, my phone's up there. I was gonna try to show you guys like the video thing, but yeah, I mean,
I mean, I wonder where he draws the line though, because
I think that's
calling
like
out a
violence.
public. Cause
well, yeah,
no, I mean,
violence is
he
the line.
He says voting is just the expression of your opinion, but that's the same thing. Like calling out public officials is also an expression of his opinion. So
Yeah,
I say
I guess because
I think his it's not private.
Yeah. 'Cause no one like knows your opinion when you go there.
Mhm.
Now everybody knows,
No,
and
that's
then
that
you can also get
formation of
other
your opinion.
people to say the same thing too, and then
Mhm.
you can maybe convince. I think the point is that you're trying to convince that official to step down. You're not trying to convince anybody to do anything different by voting.
I wish it's rigged though. A lot of the, like, when they step down, they already have like their cousin, their freaking son already like already like basically manicured to take up the next position, and then they just fucking continue on their cycle.
Because it's a party, it's not an individual.
I'm saying just the whole thing, yeah. But yeah, you guys want to move on to number 3? I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of like
Wait, what did
conspiracies
what
and
did-
shit.
what did you say?
I said we should form a separate state, separate country.
Okay.
The United States.
Okay, so
Texas.
That's what he said. Texas.
Texas is the closest thing. I mean, it's not really separate, but
Texas
it's,
It
will
was.
fall apart. Okay, what does Young mean when she writes on page 3 that structural injustices are harms that come to people as a result of structural processes in which people participate? And why is that so important that she defines that? Structural injustice. I paraphrased that last part.
Why important to define? Wait, I have it in here.
She defines it as like institutional rules and and
Somebody
interactive
find it.
routines, mobile. I don't. I,
Wait, where are you?
It's at the bottom of
District
page
transitions.
2 in the first column.
Oh, why did
So-
you say page 3?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe they're.
Oh no, it's at the top of page 3.
I think it's. I think it's both of those.
These. So this one cuts to this, and then this one cuts to it.
Wait.
Yeah, no, I know, but like, I feel like these are both.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Sorry.
So
Okay, this
Go ahead.
this defines what the structures are.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what she's doing.
Okay, so as I understand the concept, structure denotes a confluence of institutional rules and interactive routines, mobilization of resources, and physical structures.
Yes. So those are structures. That's structure defined.
Yes.
Yeah, and then she says the term structure also refers to wider social outcomes that result from the confluence of many individual actions within given institutional relations. And then up here she says structural injustices are harms that come to people as a result of structural processes in which many people participate.
And then
Why do you think that is important for her to define?
Well, it's like
I think it's important to define so you can know where to,
so we
like,
stopped
how to-
saying like this is not something we can change. This is just like the way it is.
like understanding where the problem is to like fix it in a sense.
Yes.
I think that's-
Cause wait, so that structural injustices are like what we were saying about like the big corporations plus the people who contribute to that, or
Yeah, I
everyone?
get it's like big stuff, big picture stuff. I think like a government doing harm. I think would be a structural. I'm not.
The structure doing harm.
Yeah,
Yeah, the whole thing should.
and I think it's like where it's harder to find one person to blame. So then she's arguing that we don't,
Yes,
and I think it's
I
important
see.
why she
It's important to
defines that so
define.
that we have a base.
we have something
So that we
to
all have,
address.
yeah, and so that we have our terms.
Because if you don't
on the
define
page.
structure, then like that's just the way it is. Like how are you supposed to go about that? Like that's just the way things are.
basically,
Oh, that was
Basically-
literally the sentence.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
basically,
That's what I'm saying.
basically don't be ignorant, like actually try to like think about what the problem is, so we can.
Wait, sorry, can you say that again?
So like, don't be ignorant, in a sense. Just actually try to, like, figure out what the problem is what she's saying.
Well,
Like-
I think she's just kind
once you
of come
figure
up
out,
with a base of what structural injustices are,
Yeah.
so that when she's talking, we have something to like look. Yeah, latch onto.
It's not just
Mhm.
some
Like a
vague
foundation.
idea. It's just not society.
Yeah. Yeah, being, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, cause I was just gonna, cause right after it was just saying that these participants may well be aware that their actions contribute to these processes that produce the outcome, but for many it is not possible to trace the specific causal relation between the particular actions and some particular part of the outcome. So, I feel like
is that,
this is,
would an example of that be kind of like the projects? Would you think?
So projects.
Like the projects?
What projects?
The projects, like, like lower income?
Oh.
it might be New York.
Yeah.
She's too.
You're
She's never been to
Oh,
projects.
well, like the
I've
projects
never been
is
to
like,
projects either.
What are the projects?
the projects are
It's like,
It's low income housing built for
Yeah.
for
So it's like
Built for
African,
what?
It's for
for
so
low
housing.
income people.
Oh, okay, got it.
but they're,
What are we talking
in
about?
a
I'm
sense,
so
the
confused.
the reason why they did it is to kind of like push away like lower class and kind of having like, instead of like you
In
coming
their
and
own
populating over here or like
Oh,
being
like
around
moving
us,
them?
like they just push you out here and just call that.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They
would that,
didn't
would that
mean
be
to.
a little bit of a,
Where is that?
I don't necessarily
It has
know if they mean to, but it's also, I think that with this, I think that Young is saying that while that might be the intention of corporations, everyone involved, like the people who are moving in to push those people out,
Mm.
are part of the
so
problem.
that would be like an example of that is
Yes.
the structural process creating structural injustice on people,
Yes.
right? I
You
would say
know how
that.
like me and Sally and me
Okay.
all
Yes. How we were all what?
So
involved
Mhm.
In pushing
sharing
people out.
responsibility.
Yeah. So like me as like the condominium owner being like, I wanna make money, I don't care about these low income people. Alyssa being like, I need to move somewhere to live and this is affordable for me and I know this is gonna suck for these low income people, but that's not my problem. And
Like, I just need
Sally
somewhere to
just
live.
being, yes, and Sally being pushed out of her home because she doesn't have a choice.
Oh, Sally was pushed out.
I don't know, I
No.
can't remember, I just made that up right now.
I think
yeah,
it
she was pushed out because
Sally
She is now, sorry Sally.
her apartment got turned into.
I thought she was
like,
I
A
thought she
bougie
was the,
condominium.
Yeah, it turned into.
I thought she was
bougie
I thought she was the project manager. You were like the person
No,
making
we're
it,
talking about
and
the
then
story.
you were the one that moved in.
Well,
But-
she's
well,
Sandy
yeah,
now.
She was something.
Yeah.
Yeah, now she's Sandy and she's gone. Unfortunately.
I think
Unfortunately.
the next question is long. We
But
were already
yeah.
talking
Okay.
about it anyways.
I got you. Let me
Actually,
read
we
the
didn't
question. Oh, do you want to read the question?
Yes, I got you.
What were we
The
talking about?
last thing we were talking about in class that
We were literally still talking about structural processes and injustices.
I know, but we're already talking about how it's like
Yeah,
all our
that was-
responsibility.
Yeah, but not really.
Yeah, but
I was just trying to find us
not.
a scenario to
really
more.
get into it.
We're
Oh,
already
that has
talking
nothing
about
to do with
political
the specific
responsibility.
question though.
Basically, the next question is asking what are the 5 features of the political responsibility model that Young argues for, and what role do those features play in her argument that we should adopt the political.
Responsibility model.
No, I thought it said adapt. The political responsibility model in response to structural injustice.
So let's answer the first question of the 5 features.
You could really be just
That's your argument for it.
right?
I mean,
Alright.
yes, technically, but
Read them all.
oh, okay. So the first one, oh, I didn't know what it would mean.
Oh,
The
no, I
first
was
one,
thinking
the first one being, we do not isolate, or they just don't isolate single entities or individual actions. Even if we can identify responsible parties, it doesn't absolve others of their part in the structural injustices.
Yes.
Anyone want to go on 2? Do you want me to keep going?
Wait. What? We don't do that.
The 2 is
No.
the deviation from norm.
Yeah, but why don't we don't single out a single party because then it leads to the blame game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's-
because like Alyssa could be like, "Oh, it's Neva's fault because you're the one pushing out these people and making the condominium."
She was talking about that's like
And
the
even-
shared.
And it keeps going up and
And
up and up,
even if you
and
do,
even at the highest level.
yeah,
Number
even
one
if
is
you
shared
do find
responsibility,
a way to
basically, right?
blame Neva, it doesn't
Because I think that's what you were
absolve
saying at the end.
me from
There's
blame.
shared
Responsibility,
and
I
there's
should
shared
say.
responsibility and there's collective responsibility,
But those don't
and the number one is
necessarily
shared.
correlate with number one. Those are just for number 5.
Wait, what are you saying? Say it again.
I think, because
Oh.
if we try to put them with number one, I'm gonna get really confused.
Wait, what is it? What
I
is it?
I thought well towards the end when we were talking about she was trying to define the
Collective versus
shared
shared,
and
yeah.
Yeah,
and
but that's
collective.
strictly 5.
No,
Okay.
it's
Oh, I thought she was saying the number we have to define the
No, because
difference.
there is.
I
Yeah,
thought 5
there's
was collective and 1 was shared.
No.
They both exist at the same time.
Collective would be like the liability model kind of like
the
if
corporation.
yeah, so like if we were talking about we would only
Yeah,
blame
yeah.
me because my intentions are to push people out and make more money. They would only blame me, but that's
And then,
so like me and my company as a corporation
Like
is to
everyone,
blame.
yeah.
and then shared would be
Collectively.
treating everybody as an individual, and so then every
Mhm.
individual person is taking responsibility for
And it
this
takes,
harm.
it takes into account like what you can do as an individual too.
Yeah.
If it's a collective, then we're all one entity and we're all equally responsible. When we're not.
So not
It's
not
kind of
part
like
We're not
Thoreau,
equally
honestly,
responsible.
because he's telling everybody
To
that
do what they can.
yeah, and like how each individual should
He
be
shared
put
shared
first.
that responsibility. He's guiding everyone to share the responsibility.
No, Young is doing that.
Well, they both are.
Well, yeah, but Thoreau's just arguing that it was an individual person who has to do something.
Yes.
So, am I-
I think you're cooking.
okay.
And then Young is arguing that we collectively are all responsible for the change that we want to see, basically.
Well,
Not collectively, we share it.
Sorry.
just kind of just
Wrong word. Oh, sorry.
yeah. So I think that's
Yeah,
Kind of
we're
how
already
they're
down to the
similar.
last 8 minutes.
Okay, so then number 2.
Crazy.
Number 2 is
3. Do you know how to
We're on to.
we didn't do 2. We're still talking about 1.
No. Continue.
Oh, you're talking about
Yeah.
him. Okay. So 2 is
Oh,
I wrote
35.
I wrote
Where-
deviation
never
from
mind.
norm. Punishment set.
deviation from an acceptable norm. Concerns
Like a
structural causes of injustice that are normal and ongoing.
Yes.
It's kind of just like what I understood of it. If I could be wrong. It's just basically just setting people back on path to like.
I think it's more just like
Explaining the difference.
Yeah.
They explain. We're talking about 2, right?
Yeah.
Explaining the difference between blame. So explain the difference between blame and responsibility.
yeah.
Yes.
And how isn't this the one that's talking about it being normal?
Oh no. So what you were saying, you said deviation from acceptable norm.
Mm-hmm.
It says blame or liability seeks remedy for deviation from an acceptable norm. Political responsibility concerns structural causes of injustice that are normal and ongoing. So, like, I guess an acceptable norm, deviation from an acceptable norm is blame or liability. And then political responsibility is the structural causes of injustice that like still happen and that are like normal in everyday life.
I'm trying to say this without saying number 3, you know? Like, it's easy to say that it's forward instead of backwards looking.
But that's
Wait, I didn't
I
really
feel like
get
that's
number 2.
completely different from number 2.
Because what I wrote is
These
just,
are just kind of things that just happen all the time, and they don't like it wouldn't be something that's abnormal.
something that's happening, and because it's happening,
Oh, I
it
understand.
sets
I
it
understand.
sets
Something
it sets
that just
in
goes
moral
on
law.
all
It's
the
not a
time.
deviation from the norm.
Yeah,
Okay, it is just a norm. Okay, but I understand.
it's just going on
So I think
And then
in
that
everyday life.
and
Built
like
to a
traffic
certain
lights.
structure. It's part of how society is constructed.
Yeah,
so what this is saying is blame and liability seeks for you to fix your deviation from the acceptable norm. That's what it's saying.
Okay, you
It's
just read
saying-
it, bro.
Yeah, because she's reading what it's saying.
Let her speak.
Let her cook. Before she cooks you.
Never mind. I lost my train of thought. I can't.
I bet you did.
Okay.
5
On
minutes,
to
by the
number
way.
3.
I see what you're saying. And then in political responsibility, there is no deviation from the norm because it is a
It
norm.
is, you're looking at what's already normal.
Yeah, and you're saying that that is wrong.
Yeah, and blame and liability is when you actually commit a crime.
Because
And
the
that's
only
not
thing
normal.
is
Yeah.
that it says concerns structural causes. That's why I'm. Political responsibility. Sentence again.
Oh,
Political responsibility concerns structural causes of injustice that are normal and ongoing. So the causes is what's throwing me off. Because I'm trying to put it into what you guys are saying, but it's not
Well,
making sense.
it just means that there is a
There's
cause.
injustice and it's caused by the structure. So it's the whole thing
Yeah.
we're talking about. And then
Because
Sorry, no,
I know
no.
that there is something that she says earlier.
it's just like
'Cause I
comparing
remember
like
us talking
normal
about this.
injustice to like structural injustice. So it's just like if you like
So, okay, when talking about Sandy, right?
Ah,
It wasn't a stroke of luck. It was
sorry.
stroke of luck. No, thank you. It wasn't a stroke of luck,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't
And she
like
didn't do anything wrong.
yeah. It was socially caused.
okay.
You highlighted this.
Socially.
Sorry. And systemically.
And systemically.
Socially
Yeah.
and systemically caused.
Systemically, structurally, and socially.
Yes. You
Okay.
get it now?
Yeah.
Great. Let's move on to 3.
I think we can just speed through 3. Political responsibility is more forward-looking and backward-looking. So instead
Oh,
of-
yeah.
Don't get held on the past.
You know
Focus
what I
on the-
wrote?
Focus on the future.
I
I
copied
wrote-
what you wrote.
I wrote you can't change the past, but you can plan for a better future.
Yep.
That's what
That's
I said.
literally what it's saying.
That was easy.
So you're not punishing someone for what they did.
You're just looking to make something better.
You're
Mhm.
you're trying to approach a goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, 4.
4 was like the flexibility one, right?
What it means to take up or assign political responsibility is more open. Oh wait, this is my group. What it means to take up or assign political responsibility is more open and discretionary than what it means to judge an agent blameworthy or liable.
So why don't you explain this?
Yeah.
So basically, I forgot. Okay, yeah. So it's just saying that when you're doing political responsibility, you're not. So when you're punishing someone for a crime, you're telling them to do a certain thing. Stop killing people. Stop stealing. It's very direct. There's like you're given instructions. Political responsibility is open and discretionary, which means you have a goal. It's up to you to decide how you as a person can work towards it. Because everyone has different capabilities. So not everyone is going to do the same thing, even though we all have the same responsibility. That's why it's open and up to your discretion based on what you can do and what's open available to you.
So like, I don't have to like go up to you and tell you to stop. I can't fix it. Okay, I know what I was trying to say, so just like read my mind. Okay, great.
Yeah, that's not. You're not responsible for that because you can't do it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're not capable of doing something. You do the most that you can do. Is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
It's not your responsibility. You can't do it. So everyone has does a different thing, even though we all have the same responsibility.
Okay, so I'm fine.
Just like what Dr. Coronado was saying when I didn't speak.
And then 5 would be political responsibility is responsibility.
Like everyone
Can I say that wrong?
sharing its responsibility
Wait, we were
Yeah.
talking about this.
We were talking about this.
Yeah.
So
We literally were.
this would be the
between the difference between shared and collective.
yeah.
But
So
they're
we kind of already went
Yeah.
over this.
All
shared,
right.
collective, and
Here's what she said.
Wait, please end
Shared
the
responsibility, on the other hand, is a personal responsibility for outcomes or the risks of harmful outcomes produced by a group of persons. So not a corporation, like she says
A
earlier, but a
collective of
group of
persons.
people. But we also have to finish this question.
What? Oh, dude, I'm gonna have such a hard time editing this, bro.
So
Wait.
basically, she's asking what role do those features play in her argument?
I think she just is showing us what the political responsibility model is in general, and like, never mind.
No, you're right. You're right. You're
What
right.
is-
I think she's showing us, and I think she's I think
You just explain to us, like,
Yeah.
like knowing the different
yeah,
aspects of it.
Why should we adopt it?
because I feel like her entire argument is the responsibility model is better than the liability model, and why? And I think that she's just showing us
What's
like
the why?
Because this thing actually changes shit, bruh.
okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Are we good?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really all we need to know.
Alright, great. Yay.
Yeah.
See? Not even that bad.